A tragic morning, definitely from here, and we're talking particularly about the assassination of the Prime Minister in Japan, and secondly, the shooting or the mass shooting over in South Africa, right here in our backyard in Soweto, in a tavern where 14 people have already been declared to have passed on. Now, this is a new subject in South Africa, particularly mass shooting. It's not a very popular one, but this happens after we had kids who passed away, about 21 kids who passed away in a tavern after a huge event where they were celebrating their marks and so forth, and there was a lot of underage kids over there. The subject was that people were handling was parenting, and also the subject of responsibility, particularly towards the tavern owner. That was the subject they were having over there. And on this particular one, it's a mass shooting. This person probably didn't even know the people that were involved or the people that he shot at, but this is what we now have. And so is South Africa in a position to be talking about this, or is it in a position where we are ready to have this type of a conversation where you're dealing with a person they didn't even know the people that they did these things consciously about? That's a subject that we want to have on this particular episode. It's a reality show with the daily Christian commentary videos. I want to keep this video very short. It's a Sunday. Hope you guys have a blessed day with your family. And condolences also to the family, the families that are involved in this particular situation. I wouldn't wish this on people that hate me with all they have. First, let's talk about the Prime Minister. He's having the speech as he's speaking out in the open, and somebody just walks up from right behind and starts letting it off. Now, Japan has a very strict rules, particularly about gun control and all that, and so this is a very rare situation. And the particular thing that he used, was actually homemade. It uses kind of like electronics in order for you to do the shooting. It's a very funny make that he actually has, used with tape and whatnot and all kinds of things. They were so not ready for it, or they were so not used to having gunfire, to a point where the first shot goes off, they almost just duck without any much reaction towards safety or safeguarding the Prime Minister, and so, or the former Prime Minister at this point. But they almost just froze until he actually got a second shot through, because in Japan it's not a popular thing. But there's one thing that I wanted to kind of theme this under. It's the heart. How the biggest subject that is at the core of all this, both the subject mostly might actually get even missed, which is the heart of humans. On the second situation, they don't have the full details about who is responsible and whatnot. Police are investigating the subject. But South Africa, for me, is not equipped for this particular subject because, first of all, here in South Africa, people have just been at each other's necks about everything. They've been at each other's necks about belief systems, about gender subject, or are females safe at their partners, and the dangers that are coming with that, relationships that are broken in these particular situations, domestic issues, and also political. When it comes to it's either black or white or it's otherwise, these are the subjects that we've been having constantly about. These are the things that we've been talking about, whether be you're rich, you're well off. When COVID showed up, it put people that had savings, pinned them against people that do not have savings, people who could survive versus people that needed assistance. It pinned those people at each other to a point where we've just been used to being pinned against each other. A subject that needs us to be united to have those conversations forward doesn't look like it would survive the tables. A situation like this where we have to put away all these other ideas. Remember, not long ago, a so-called pastor with an extremist group came out not long ago. They were trying to do everything to get the government back into white people's hands, whether it be DA or whatever, but they were an extremist group. They were recently convicted for their crimes and intentions to do harm to people that were innocent. In this situation, it's a mass shooting. They just walked into a place, knew nobody, but they let off rounds into people that were just there drinking or doing whatever, and they were having fun by themselves, but this person had other ideas. I was listening to one of the interviews of one of the family members, and he talks about, I just been with these kids. I just come from work, been with these kids, left them here, and I didn't even know that they were over there. Before you knew it, I'm getting a call. And that's his recollection of this entire situation. We are dealing with just wickedness. I'm not talking, the subject is not male, female. Very recently in South Africa, it's been foreigners. People have been just at the back of foreigners. At first, you would have thought it was just illegal foreigners. And then before you know it, like I said earlier on, the reason why I don't like politics is because normally it doesn't get anything resolved. It just knows how to point at things. And so at first it was illegals. Now it's just foreigners as a whole. Why? Because people don't realize what is at the core of these people when they are doing these things. And the issue, as I stated, is this thing. The Bible says the heart of man is incredibly wicked. Who can know it? Who can know it? It questions the state in which it presents itself and how you might see it. You might see innocence, while as that is actually just a light deception. You're seeing one thing, but it's actually the other. Not long ago, we had a young man killed his partner, stuffed her into a fridge. And his neighbor, speaking about how he described this guy, he said, this was a very innocent guy. I would have never seen this coming. Why? Because the one thing that would have given you that hint, you're just not in place to recognizing it. And what is it? The heart of man is incredibly wicked. Who can know it? We are not in a position where we can have that conversation because we are so used to being at each other's necks. You are used to it being just another white person or just another black person or another Indian or another. You are just so used to a colored person. It's this. Oh no, that was done by this community here, these poor people over here. They're always striking, destroying things. They're always burning things. Yeah, it's these people in this lower class. We're so used to being at each other's necks that we're not ready to be dealing with the core issue of this matter, which is the human heart and the wickedness that it can wreak amongst its own community and the people that it belongs with. This is the subject here. It's not a partner who was against their own partner. That's not the subject you're dealing with here. You're not dealing with, even in the situation of the prime minister, you're not dealing with the situation where the prime minister had done something wrong to this particular individual. You're not dealing with that situation. You're dealing with just the pure wickedness of the human heart and how far it would go at getting what it desires. Are we South Africans in a position where we can have those conversations while we are so used to not listening to each other? Because, oh yeah, this person speaks like this because they are against my beliefs. Or this person speaks like this because they are male, they don't understand the difficulties of a woman. Oh yeah, this person speaks like this because they are well off financially. Oh yeah, this person speaks like this because they have white privilege. We are so used to being at each other's necks. We're never talking about the real core of the matters. The core of the matter and the subject is the human heart. As long as the human heart is not recognized, it is the undetected devil that resides within the human body. Yesterday we were talking about this thing where we highlighted the verse in Romans chapter number 7, which says, when I want to do good, evil is present with me. And that was the subject. And I want to remind everybody that on Saturday, the live stream that we're going to be doing is particularly going to be about that, the separation between the body and the spirit, when it comes to how the Bible actually speaks about these two subjects. If you do not realize, or if you do not recognize the separation between these two subjects, it leaves this gap where everything is always a shocker. You just don't understand where it comes from, or you just never saw it coming. Why? The devil in the details is undetected. It's the human heart. And it remains the groundwork by which all these things that you see in society actually happen. The ill will of willing to have profits over the safety of the kids in that tavern last week. It's the same thing with this particular gentleman who just walked with this particular person, because we don't know who it is, whether it be female or male, who just walked into this tavern and did what he did. There's one thing that cuts across the board with both of them, and it is what? It is the human heart. And as long as we are not addressing that, because by addressing that, we have to start speaking about the correction aspect. And the Christian faith is kind of like dealt at addressing that. Some people tend to believe, no, there's reincarnation, you can go on and reincarnate. No, the Christian faith says, no, you solve that right here, right now. You're not going to just escape having to deal with it. You have to deal with it right now. But it also addresses something else, the roots of these issues, which is the salvific aspect. We call it salvation, as you might actually call it. And the salvation aspect deals with the roots of where these problems come from, which is from the spirit of man, the old man the old Adam, as you might put it, that needs to be reconciled back to God, so that its conscience is bound unto God's ideals. But at the core of the matter here that I wanted to highlight amongst the subject, and I want to say also, condolences to the families. I wouldn't wish this on anybody.